Before anything else, I want to start by recommending that you stop watching this video and you read Awareness by Anthony DeMello, which is actually what inspired the content of this. I'm not going to put reading on a pedestal. I think that people should absorb information in whichever way they see fit. I find actually myself that I emotionally resonate with something much more when I hear it. But that being said, I find that when I need to retain and then apply information, I have a lot more success with reading. But that's just me. A lot of this video will be directly quoting the book, so I just want to make sure I give credit where credit is due. I think you'll gain far more value from reading that book than any content you can find online. So that being said, the aim of this channel is to hopefully find and connect with people who used to be like I was and bring them to where I am now, which is much happier, healthier, and excited by life. If you find that you more often are dreading life than looking forward to it, I think that this channel might be for you. In this video, we're going to be talking about one of the most significant and high-level ideas from this book, which is if you're suffering, it may be because you are clinging to your concepts. And furthermore, in order to ultimately let go of your suffering and your concepts, you have to better understand them. So we're going to talk about 3 qualities of concepts, which will help you to recognize them, then understand them, and then let them go. Okay, so firstly, concepts point, but they are never entirely accurate. They miss uniqueness and concreteness. A concept is not unique and concrete, it's universal. So let me give you an example. If I tell you I saw a leaf this morning, you don't really have an idea of what I saw. The word leaf applies to all leaves on the tree that I saw. It also applies to all leaves on all trees. So by telling you I saw a leaf, I've actually given you a better idea of what I did not see rather than what I did see. I didn't see a car or a book or an animal. So the word leaf lacks uniqueness and concreteness. Let me give you another example. Let's say I were to tell you that I was an American. Technically that would be true, but what is an American? It's a convention. Again, it lacks uniqueness and concreteness. I'm telling you more about what I am not than what I am. I'm doing myself an injustice. In order to actually know me, you would have to intuit and experience me. A person can be intuited, but cannot be conceptualized. So a concept always misses something that's extremely important that can only be found in reality, which is concrete uniqueness. This is summarized very well in a saying, the day you teach a child the name of a bird, the child will never see that bird again. Think about that. Try to imagine the first time you ever saw a bird. I know you probably can't remember that, but try to imagine it. As a child, you see this bird soaring through the sky, but you have no concept of it. Now, contrast that with what happens now. Do you actually experience or intuit a bird? Or especially when you recognize what the bird's name is, what happens? You don't experience it, you look at it and you go, I know that bird. That's a cardinal. At the end of the day, the best a concept can do is help to lead you to reality. But when you get there, you've got to intuit it or experience it directly. Remember that there was a time in your life when you looked at a bird with fascination. There was a time in your life when you were captivated by a water droplet rolling down the window. But then you conceptualized things and you lost it. One of my favorite lines from this book is, if you don't look at things through your concepts, you'll never be bored. Okay, so the second quality of concepts. Concepts are static, but reality is in flux. So for example, we give rivers names but the body of water is constantly changing. By that same token, you yourself have a name. You think of yourself in the form of an idea, but the cells in your body are constantly being renewed. It was once said that no man ever steps in the same river twice, because it's not the same river, and he is not the same man. Imagine you didn't know what a river was, and I wanted to give you an idea of a river, and I brought it to you in a bucket. It wouldn't be the river anymore. When reality is put into a concept, it becomes static, dead. A frozen wave is not a wave. Concepts are always frozen, whereas reality flows and is constantly changing. The third and final quality of a concept or words is that they will fragment reality, but reality is whole. We actually cut reality up to make concepts, and we use words to indicate different parts. Imagine if you had never seen an animal in your life, and you and I were walking through the forest, and we came across a tail. And I said, "That's a tail." Would you have any idea what it was if you knew nothing of animals? I know that I've had this experience. I've talked to people about it, and we've tried to describe it to one another, but have you ever been next to like a massive tree, like just an absolutely ginormous tree, but you don't see it as a tree? You're just sort of marveling in it. You're experiencing it. You don't know how to describe it. It's like it's not a tree to you. It's something else. If someone were after that experience to come to you and ask you what you saw, what do you think you would say? You essentially wouldn't have an answer for it. It's like the child's vision. It's the perspective of wonder. When we start off in life, we look at things with wonder, and the wonder actually dies as we form concepts and words and language. And then hopefully, if we're lucky, we'll return to the wonder. In the last several years, I've noticed a shift. The proliferation of content that's aimed at exchanging ideas and concepts and having a dialogue is growing exponentially. I actually love YouTube. I spend a lot of time on it, but it used to be the evolution of dance and Grape Lady. Now it's Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson. So we obsess over the importance of dialogue and exchanging in concepts, but that can only go so far. If everything we just discussed is true, then concepts can't actually reflect reality. Concepts are like a map. They can point you in the right direction, but I worry that people are actually confusing the map with the way. Another quote from this book that I love is, "The horse that you mount to travel to the house is not the means by which you enter the house." Just like a concept, you have to dismount and go beyond it. So a substantial increase in the exchanging of concepts without a substantial increase in spirituality and awareness used to go beyond those concepts has led to an imbalance. I believe this to at least be part of the reason for fear and anxiety being at an all-time high. Why are we more afraid now, despite having fewer reasons to be than perhaps ever before? I believe this is because fear is rooted in illusion. One who is fully in touch with reality cannot be afraid, because reality is not scary. Reality is. If we are more afraid now than ever before, then perhaps it is because we are less in touch with what is than ever before. Ultimately, I hope that this channel serves as a means for you to discover spiritual and health principles that aid you in coming in contact with what is rather than what is not. In my past, I've found it difficult to understand and apply spiritual principles in my life. Thankfully, I found resistance training, which has turned out to be a remarkable way of practicing and demonstrating these principles. It's far from the only way, but it's very simple and accessible. If you are the type of person that struggles to grasp something unless it is proven, then I feel like this channel will be for you. It's going to be like a science class. An idea will be discussed, then reinforced by a demonstration. The way it works is I will present the ideas to you and you will use your body, your strength, and your gusto to demonstrate them to yourself. We can connect, I can coach you, and I look forward to getting to know you and walking this path together. Right at the end of this video is going to be a summary of everything we discussed, but before that I want to give you a takeaway exercise. Next time you feel bored, instead of doing something to try and make that feeling go away, instead sit in the feeling and consider if the reason you're experiencing it is because you are clinging to a concept of what you are experiencing instead of actually experiencing said thing. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised to find that you actually never really need to be bored. It's been fun. I'll see you next time. So remember the 3 qualities of a concept. 1, a concept is universal. It points, but is never entirely accurate. It lacks uniqueness and concreteness. 2, concepts are static, whereas reality is in flux. 3, reality is whole, but words and concepts fragment reality. And remember, concepts and dialogue are a means to acquire understanding, but they are not understanding within themselves. They are knowledge, but not insight. Insight requires going beyond knowledge. And lastly, if you are suffering, it may be because you are clinging to concepts and illusion. Contact with reality, the truth, and what is yields inner peace.